the saddest days of my life. I joined the procession behind the coffin and all the rest of it. And I honestly thought that after supporting Doncaster Rovers from 1958 to then 1998, those 40 years, I'd finally, watched my last game at Doncaster Rovers. But we've now got the opportunity to rebuild it again, and I'm very confident that number one, Doncaster Rovers is going places. Number two, that the town will support us and the council and also develop a new ground, and we can become a force again. As I've often gone on record as saying, this town could support a big football club just like Bradford City or Barnsley have in more recent times.
Doncaster Rovers have never tasted the football high life, and for most of their league history they'd languished in the old 3rd Division North, occasionally flirting with the 2nd Division, but more recently competing in the 4th. But success in football is relative. Not every team can win league championships or cups, and success for some is measured simply in terms of survival, something that football fans know all about, and for Rovers fans suddenly a reality. Indeed, during the summer of '98, many thought that the club would fold. But, and as if to answer everybody's prayers, news filtered through the grapevine of behind-the-scenes activities that just might rescue the club. Supporters were understandably dismissive at first. After all, they'd heard it all before. But it became apparent that this rescue package had more than an even chance of succeeding. And for £3.7 million, it did.
West Ferry really brokered the deal. It's really looking at putting investors and people into an area in a community like this. I mean, I think circumstances have shown that an area like Doncaster really needs successful professional sport. They saw an opportunity there. Yes, obviously there's a development, hopefully with a new stadium, which is included in that, but I think for the people of Doncaster, it's all really gone well at the moment.
I was approached in the summer of, last summer in fact, by the Irish Consortium to come back as chairman and to take over the football club, and I was more than delighted to take them up on their offer. I've always felt there's been tremendous potential in Doncaster. When I first watched Doncaster Rovers, they were in the old 2nd Division. It's my great wish in life and my great goal in life to see them back there, at least back there. And it's the only great goal in my life I've not achieved, so I'd like to achieve it this time.
We always knew that when we came in, obviously we're outsiders. We always knew that we wanted to, at some stage, get more local business people involved. That was always going to be a priority, but obviously it was going to be as and when we found the right people who would want to get involved. John Ryan's name came up virtually, actually at the press conference when Ian and I were announced. And from there, meetings took place, and it became apparent very quickly that he was obviously very, very keen, and he's so passionate about the club, and he brings a lot of credibility and a lot of kudos and good ideas as well as financial backing, and I think he's done a great job so far this year.
To appoint me as chairman, I think, was good because I'm a Doncaster-born person. I've always supported the club, and I've obviously spoken to Peter Wetzel as well, who's also a local born person that is keen to come back, and one or two other people as well. So we're trying really to get a nucleus of Doncastrians, either ex or present Doncastrians, that really want to see Doncaster Rovers back on the map. It's very important for the town, not just for the football club, because if you haven't got a successful football club, the town is a nothing. If you haven't got a decent football club, no one knows who you are.
Loses its identity.
Loses its identity completely.
Despite losing their league status, there was no shortage of applicants for the position of manager, including ex-Rovers star Ian Snodding.
There was a lot of interest that, I think people fail to sort of read that into the situation at times. They just think Ian Snowden, local boy, yes, it's a natural step, but we were approached by a lot of people, player managers, a lot of people who've won things in the game. But the more we sat down and thought about it, and I had 2 or 3 meetings with Ian, and the passion he's got and the belief in himself, and also the ideas of what he wanted to do with this football club, it seemed like he was going to be a natural choice to be manager at this club.
I got a phone call out of the blue, really. It was off the company West Ferry, offered David McKnight and Neil McMahon, said they'd like to interview me for the Doncaster Rovers job. A lot of people questioned me when I actually said, yeah, I'd like to be interviewed, because a lot of people didn't relish the job, and they wondered who West Ferry was and that. But to be fair to them, I wanted to give them a chance, because they were going to give hopefully my first opportunity in management. And when Doncaster Rovers are involved, and my eyes lit up anyway. If it had been another club, then I would have had apprehensions. But once I knew it was Doncaster Rovers, I just wanted to get down the motorway and meet them and put my side of the coin over to them as well.
There can be no doubt in the commitment of Ian Snodding to Rovers' cause. He always gave 110% for the club right from the time he made his Rovers debut in 1980, and his approach to the game remained consistent throughout his playing career, a career which took him to the brink of full England honours, only to be cruelly robbed by injury.
But you know, we started with absolutely zero. We hadn't had any. Richardson didn't leave us with any football nets, any football boots, any footballs, nothing. Everything was taken. Absolutely devastated. It was almost like a bomb had landed on Bellevue.
How on earth did Chairman John Ryan kickstart the club?
I had to give it some money quick. It's as simple as that. In all fairness to West Ferry, they did a grand job and put money in and helped the club. I mean, and they appointed Ian Snowden. I helped to get Glyn Snowden in from Scarborough.
And really knew I'd got the job by probably July the 20th or something like that. So I started to make plans from then. But we couldn't get in as a company and as a management team till August the 1st. So I'd got a couple of players lined up. But from August the 1st, once we knew we'd definitely got the club, West Ferry definitely got the club, and we got the keys to the place, to be perfectly honest, that's when all the hard work started. And it was difficult, because I got the PFA list, and there was many names on the list, and I'm sure there's going to be many this season. But by the time I got the list, everybody had either re-signed for the clubs or they'd gone elsewhere. So basically, I wasn't left with much to choose from. But being in the game such a long time, I'd got a lot of friends in the game who fortunately helped me out, and that likes Neville Southall, John Sheridan, Steve Nicol, Tommy Wright, and they've been great people to have about. It gave the club a buzz early doors, because we knew it was going to be difficult right up to even now. It's still difficult attracting players, because Doncaster Rovers has not had a good name for the last couple of years. And when you saw the club in August, it was so run down, and the dressing rooms. I was signing players. I had to give my first talk August the 1st and tell them what we wanted from them as a group of players. I had to do it in the boardroom, really, because I was embarrassed to take them in the dressing room, because they were in such a state. And that's the kind of problems I had early doors. And but I believe I picked up some good players in a short space of time, and time will tell that the lads that are here are good players.
Former Rotherham man Sean Goodwin was Ian's first signing. Sean and Ian met up 7 years ago at Everton when Goodwin had trials. He admired Ian's outlook on the game and had no hesitation in signing for Rovers.
The start of the season, there must have been 5-6 that I'd signed. Trialists coming here, there, everywhere. To get a settled side in the first game of the season away at Dover. I mean, nobody knew everybody. We only trained with each other for a couple of weeks, and it was a situation that I've never been in before, but we all rallied together, and good experience.
We went down on the Friday night, and one of the lads, Kevin McIntyre, who's joined us at full time now, we paid a little fee for him, and it was through Kevin Sheedy, another friend, that I got him on loan. I'd not really seen Kevin play. I didn't know who he was, and I met him first time at, I think it was Watford Gap. That was the first time I'd ever seen Kevin face to face, and I didn't know who I were looking for or anything. And I got off the bus at Watford Gap and saw a lad there with a bag and presumed that was Kevin McIntyre. That's how strange it was, and fortunately it was. And yeah, Kevin joined us, didn't even know any of the lads, didn't even know me, to be perfectly honest, and there he was playing against Dover in his first game the day after.
I played for Tranmere Reserves on a Thursday night, and come on second half, played reasonably well, and coming home on the coach, Kevin Sheedy, came up to me and asked me would I fancy coming on loan to Doncaster. So I thought, yeah, it'd be a good chance for me to, you know, get a few games, and so I said yeah, and he told me to meet up with Doncaster at Watford Gap Services. So I met up at Watford Gap Services, met Ian Snowden, and he said he was impressed with the way I played, and he just wanted more of the same basically, and that was it. Went down to Dover and played for Doncaster, so it was good.
Once I got a group of players, I knew realistically we couldn't win. I knew deep down that we couldn't win, and I was more nervous. I was sat with West Ferry, Paul May, Ian McMahon, and I was just thinking that I hope it in 5 or 6. And to be honest, it did me proud. We got beat 1-0. We had a couple of chances. Could have been Andy Woods played that day, and he was magnificent. Saved a penalty. Could have been probably 3 or 4, but we had a couple of chances ourselves. But we put up a credible performance. The support was, it got a bit out of order towards the end, but you can understand it with Dover, it's not far from France, and but no, the supporters turned out in force, so I know I had the backing of the supporters, to be perfectly honest, from day one. And overall it was a great weekend, but I weren't half nervous. I've played in some good games along my career, but I'd say Dover against Doncaster, because I was suspended as a player, so I didn't play myself, and I think I was more nervous for that particular game than I've been while I've been playing.
1-0 defeat was a fantastic result, but it's still a defeat. But it could have been silly. We could have lost 6 or 7. Fortunately, we didn't. And the great thing was that the fans responded immediately. And the early matches against, I think it was Southport and Kidderminster, we got over 4,000 gates. And I knew then we were on our way. I knew it would take a little time, but the great thing about the supporters of Doncaster Rovers is they are patient. As long as they can see people trying and making the best effort they possibly can, they will forgive anything. And I've seen Doncaster Rovers applauded off the field at home having lost, and there's not many teams that would have that sort of reaction having lost at home.
I think I had about 6, 7 week, 8 week without anybody. John Stiles was helping me at the beginning, and John's a great friend and he knows what he's on about. He's played at a good level, John, and he was an absolute must in them early weeks. He was great to have around, and he worked extremely hard while I was here, but I knew I wanted Glyn from day one as soon as I got the job.
Well, the first thing was that when I was offered the job at Barnsley, this job wasn't offered to me, so I think it was a couple of days previous that I was on my way down to Barnsley. I had a good chat. I spoke with the chairman, John Dennis, spoke with John Hendry. Everything went well. I spoke with Mick Wadsworth when I went back. He was a different class. He said, you know, it's a good opportunity, go and take it. So that's what I did. I made my mind up that, yeah, I wanted to go. And then there was some compensation that wanted to be sorted out, which the two clubs couldn't agree, which I thought were wrong anyway, because I ran a youth team manager going for a reserve team job. So I thought it was silly asking for compensation, especially after I've only been in a coaching side for about 18 months. And it didn't occur. And then the next best thing happened that I got a call from Ian saying would I like to join him. And I didn't have to sit down and have 2 seconds thought. It was just yes straight away.
we felt that in those two people we had people that had the heart of Doncaster Rovers. You know, the fans must have known that when we appointed Ian and Glenn that we're appointing Doncaster Rovers people through and through.
Glenn and Ian have got the club at heart and would like to really see it get back on its feet, because they knew it when it was a good day, same as we, like I did and a lot of other fans did.
I think to say that the brothers, I think that will work, because they're so close and like with outside of football. Snow was a great player, Ian was a great player, Glenn, he's been with the right clubs, Ian, he knows what's needed, he knows a good player when he sees one.
Glenn's obviously got the coaching ability, which he's gained over the years.
But I think the combination of the two has worked very well. And really, I think it's almost unique, that organisation of two brothers as manager and number two at any club, certainly at full professional level.
Well, I certainly don't know of any other club do it where that's happened.
Glenn had a successful career as a player. He was a good player. I had a decent career, so we know what we both want out of the game, and we know what we want the players to get out of the game, because I believe there's a lot of talent here, and some of the players like Steve Nicol, myself, Tommy Wright, have played at a good level, and it'd be great for some of these lads to get to that level, and they're well capable, and Glenn knows what he wants from him, and I know what I want from him, and that's why I leave him alone on the coaching field. I don't interfere one little bit, because I know everything that he's preaching, I preach as well. So it works both ways. He don't interfere with me, I don't interfere with him, but whatever he says goes and whatever I say goes. So we work well together.
We do work well together. I do all the coaching out there. He does all the team. He'll come up and say, "I just think we should play this way, that way." So we get his heads together.
I did some persuading with Neville and with John and Tommy Wright, but I didn't need any with Steve, because he approached me. He was out of contract. I said, "Yeah, come down, let's have a look at your fitness." But within 2 days, you could see that he was fit enough, keen enough, and he's been an ever-present ever since. He works extremely hard. If he scores a goal in five-a-side, you think he'd scored in the FA Cup final, and that's why he's been at the top for so long. I know I've recently signed a lad from Garforth Town, and the first person he mentioned was Steve Nicol. He'd love to have a five-a-side with him and get involved with him. He's got in his contract, if a coach's job and manager's job becomes available, if he wants it, then he can have that opportunity and he can leave Doncaster Rovers.
He's now leaving to go to Boston in the US to do their coaching appointments. We all wish him incredibly well, and we'd just like to make a little presentation to show our great esteem of all the efforts that he's made on our behalf at the back this season. So, Steve, please welcome.
I knew it was going to be difficult from the day I got in for the first 3 or 4 months. Well, I know this season would be hard.
Rovers' league position quickly hit rock bottom, and supporters were alarmed that the club might suffer the disaster of yet another relegation. Even though performances didn't justify their league status, Rovers couldn't rid themselves of their wooden spoon tag. A welcome change came in the FA Cup. A 1-0 win at Southend saw United's assistant manager Mickey Gooding tell Ian Snodding that Rovers were the best team he'd seen all season. But the daily grind still goes on.
difficult at times. We knew he was playing good football, but we wasn't getting results. We was getting beat 1-0 at home when we was dominating teams, which was hard to get, hard to take really. But I think we always knew he was going in the right directions by the way the football he was playing. And I think the fans could see that too, because they wasn't getting on our backs, which they had every right to do so.
we'd probably play against teams and get beat 1-0 when we should have won 4 or 5.
We always said Christmas will start to turn the corner, and we started to turn the corner. Actually, Dover at home, we were 3-0 down after half an hour. We came back to win that game in magnificent style, 5-4, and that was a turning point. And since then, you know, really, we're a top 6 team.
I think we just had to work a bit harder, really. Most teams came here and defended, and we was getting sucker punched by getting hit on the break and getting 1-0. But then when we had a little spell against Rushden and Kettering, and when we beat all them teams, I think we made a conscious effort to play 4-4-2 and get 8 people behind the ball when we didn't have it. But we knew it was going to come, and it was just a matter of time. I think we just needed a goal scorer, really. And once Durden started putting the goals in, then things kept going.
It was up to Christmas. I had the occasional good game. I weren't playing well. I weren't hitting it, I weren't shooting. My confidence had dried up as far as goals went. So over Christmas I just looked at myself, looked in the mirror and I said to myself, look, you know, I'm 20-year-old. If I want to get anywhere in this game, I'm going to have to start scoring goals because that's my job, that's what I get paid to do. So then January's come and we've played against Cheltenham, and I weren't having a good game against Cheltenham, but I knew now to start being selfish and start having a look at goal. And Kevin McIntyre's put a great ball across, and I finished it with a diving header. And my confidence risen for the rest of that game. Really, I was holding the ball up and everything. And then they just started to come. Then as soon as you get one goal, like any centre forward will tell you, they'll all start flowing. Really. As a centre forward, you can't compare it to anything else. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I can't nothing else I've ever done in life. You know, even at Doncaster Rovers, whether it be at Doncaster, whether it be an FA Cup final for Everton against Liverpool. I don't think it changes whatever you play. I'm sure them people who play on Sundays for the local pub teams, I mean, you score a goal for them, and it's like the same feeling you get inside. It's absolutely phenomenal feeling. It is for me anyway.
The game should be played like, I think the way Arsenal play, Chelsea play, Manchester United play. Now, no disrespect to our lads, we ain't got probably their quality at the moment, but we want it to be played that way. On the floor, hard working off the ball, you know, close people down. But when we've got the ball, we want it passed, we want it played, passed, creative, get balls in the box, yeah, but it's got to be put in with quality rather than just dumped in there. Now, some teams have got good results with that. We stuck with it all year. We started with it and we said, all right, we won't get the results, but we're going to keep going, because that's the way we believe. And if we changed it, we won't enjoy coaching that, and the lads won't enjoy playing that, because we haven't brought the players in to do that job. We brought players in who can play, who can fight, who's a winner, and that's what we're looking for.
Most of the players that we've got here now like to play football. Everything we do in training is geared to playing football, to passing it, to doing it what we think's the right way.
What we've worked on all season, we want them to work hard as a team. We want them to encourage each other. We want them to work hard for one another, and we want them to play football. And they've certainly played football. Results at times, to be quite honest, what they've deserved, what the footballers deserved, because they've played some good stuff. And but now results are starting to pick up. They're playing how we want to play, and the team spirit at this club, even from mid-August, has been outstanding. Everybody's mixes in together. There's no little cliques, and the team spirit is absolutely A1. That is one thing that we've been happy with all season.
44 years after making his league debut for the club, Rovers' favourite son came home.
Oh, it was out of the blue, and it was a fantastic moment for me. I don't know how I could really express it after being all these years with the club, and then asked to be the president. It was a terrific honour.
Of course, Alec Jeffrey was my all-time favourite footballer. He was my idol as a kid. He was the one that, if anyone turned me on to football, it was Alec Jeffrey. I remember coming as a young kid to watch him, I think, play against Hartlepool Reserves, and there must have been about 10,000 there in his comeback game in about 63, 64. I saw him score 42 goals in one season in 64, 65, the championship season the year after. He was, in my opinion, one of the greatest players that never was, in a way, because I think if he hadn't broken his leg, he'd have been a world beater. But he always said, well, you know, he might have been in the Munich air disaster because he was going to Manchester United. So
I remember the first time, Pete, when I signed for Doncaster, so it was the first club that ever came for me. And I was playing for Yorkshire boys against Lancashire boys at Bellevue, and we beat them 7-1. And I scored a hat-trick. And Cliff Duffin, who was the Mr. Doughty's chief scout, and it was illegal, by the way. I mean, it's going back a lot of years. I don't think anybody will bother about it now. But you weren't supposed to approach kids. Anyway, they did. And I was up line and sinker. I'd done it. I thought, oh, a league football club come after me. The first one. Then I was picked for England, and every club came. And I went to Old Trafford. Jimmy Murphy was never away from the house. And they invited me to go over to Old Trafford one Sunday morning. The players used to go back in the morning, have a five-a-side across the pitch, and those who were injured used to go for treatment. And Jimmy Murphy asked me if I wanted to play on five-a-side. I said, no boots. Well, get a pair of boots. Anyway, I played in a five-a-side with Tommy Taylor and Edwards and all these. And gets in the bath with Duncan Edwards. And Duncan took me into the trophy room and showed me all this, and he was, oh, this is the great club, you want to be here, and so. Anyway, I'd done it, and I said to Busby, I said, yeah, I'll sign, but I've already signed for Peter Doughty. And Matt said, well, he's a very good friend of mine. He said, I think it'll be all right. Anyway, he said, I'll be in touch. Anyway, they got in touch with me a bit after, and I had to meet him in Chapeltown over the top. And Busby came and Jimmy Murphy, and they said, Peter's going to make a hell of a stink if you sign for us. So that was that. But he said to me, so this parting shot was, you'll be playing for us before long, you know. And I would have been if I hadn't have broken my leg, because it was going on at the time, like there was negotiating kind of thing. And Peter Doughty said, well, the boy's only 17, wait until after the under-23 game. Of course, I broke the leg. Fell through.
Cash is always the main influence in running a football club. Pivotal decisions have to be made. Does the club have a reserve side, or do they strengthen the first team squad? Rovers took the bold steps of both staying full-time and concentrating on the first team. After all, they clearly feel they're only on loan to the conference. Attendances averaged over 3,000, making some league clubs green with envy. But just what costs are involved in competing at this level?
To run Doncaster Rovers the way we want to run it will cost someone 500,000 a year. It's as simple as that. Despite, you know, the gates as they are, we get gates which bring in maybe, you know, I don't know, a home game we probably get 16,000 pounds. It doesn't go anywhere near to even paying the wage bill. Because if you want quality players, you have to pay the price.
When we took over, we were budgeting around 1,500, you know, 1,700. But we also budgeted slightly different for, I wouldn't say a lesser calibre of player, but obviously, you know, we didn't expect to pay the sort of John Sheridans, Neville Southall, Steve Nichols, you know, and what's happened is as more and more quality players have become available, we've made the money available to Ian, but that then impacts on budgets. I think we always knew that the budget we set was, it had to be, you know, there had to be room in there for growth, and obviously we didn't expect it to get the crowds we have. But, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean we're actually raking a lot of money in, don't.
The commercial activity is paramount. As you say, you can't survive on gates, even if you're getting good gates like we are. There's an awful lot of expense that you get on a day-to-day basis. You're only playing for 9 months. Of that 9 months, you're away for, if you like, half of them. So you need to find other avenues where you can bring in revenue. We have, obviously, ground boards that we sell. We've got the shirt sponsorship, match sponsorship, ball sponsorship, but in addition to things that we're doing, if you like, within the football ground, we also step outside the football arena and do sportsmen's dinners, race nights, and we'll get involved in any way that we can do, if it's, you know, with lotteries or raffles, and just to make as much money as we can.
After the troubles of previous seasons, the name of Doncaster Rovers usually drew a blank when attempting commercial ventures.
There was a certain amount of scepticism in some quarters, but there was also an awful lot of support, and it was just important that we got round and did talk to as many people as we possibly could do. And the sceptics, we just told the story to. We explained to them exactly what we'd come from and where we were going to, the plans that we had for the future. And gradually, you know, if they respected you and they were interested in Doncaster Rovers and Doncaster as a town, we've managed to turn them around.
There's clearly been some hard selling by both Nigel and Alec Jeffrey Jr. And one of the main captures for the commercial department was a deal with Beezer Homes, who became Rovers' shirt sponsor.
Well, they became involved with the football team in much the same way that every single sponsor here became involved in the football team. I would say that 90% of the people who've been involved with the club this season have been involved because either Alec Jeffrey or I picked the phone up and made an initial call to them, just to gauge a response to see whether they will be interested in supporting Doncaster Rovers in some sort of financial way. It just so happened that I picked the phone up and rang Beezer and spoke to Brian Light, the managing director, who agreed to meet me. And at that meeting, we just talked about a number of opportunities that were available. And he said to me that, you know, he was interested, but he'd never even seen the Rovers play. So I left the meeting and said I would write to him and invite him to a game, just so he could come down and have a look at the setup. Because when you haven't been down here, you know, you envisage a conference football club in dowdy surroundings with little or no support and nothing going for it. And it's not until you actually come down here and watch a game that you realise there's an atmosphere, there's a support, there's a loyalty, and it can be of benefits to local businesses. And Brian came down here with a number of his other directors and saw the game against Barrow, which we won 2-1, if memory serves me right. And he thoroughly enjoyed the game, and so did his directors. And they invited me back the next morning and agreed to do the shirt sponsorship. So in many ways, you know, it's the team that sold it as much as I did, because I mean, A, they performed that night, but B, the supporters had their part because they show a warmth, and we are in warm surroundings, believe it or not.
Saturdays are not just about football. Merchandising and fun days out are crucial.
And that's what we want, you know, particularly in Doncaster. You know, they've been through the mill on a professional sporting basis, and what we wanted to do is bring a little bit more fun and a little bit more excitement. And on the other side of it, you know, the more eccentric things, let's say, the more people want to find out why we're doing it, how we're doing it. You know, the Quid a Kid has probably been the most successful scheme in football to date. Things like helicopters, you know, getting the chairman of both Rushton and John Ryan here to go and get the ball. It gives the crowd something to get involved with rather than turn up at 10 to 3, watch the game and go home. We want to make it where the kids come and the parents and they have a day out and they enjoy it. And really, they take home that if we win, it's even better. But if they don't, they go home and still feel that they've had a great day out at Doncaster Rovers.
During the club's first annual awards presentation, Chairman John Ryan delighted supporters with details of the new 12,000 capacity stadium to be built on the Lakeside Leisure Park, a joint venture involving Rovers, West Ferry and Builders McAlpine.
The other news that I'd like to finally say is this, that at the meeting in Dublin, West Ferry have agreed to sell the club to me and Peter Wexel. So it's a new start in a lot of ways. I think this season's been a new start, but I think you can be confident in the fact that the club is now owned by people that are Doncastrians through and through, Rovers supporters through and through, and we have the money to back up our wild plan, shall we say. I hate to use the word benefactors, but you need people that with reasonable financial resources to help out at this level. It's absolutely essential. Most clubs in the conference are absolutely living hand to mouth. The good news, though, just to finish off, the good news is financially Doncaster Rovers has no debts. We have no overdraft. We actually, you know, operate in the black.
Any squad building will have a heavy reliance on young players, and the youngsters at Bellevue are a contrasting blend of those with and without league club experience. Mark Hume was at Barnsley, and Martin Foster came to Rovers following a recommendation from Eddie Gray at Leeds, and interestingly without Ian Snodding having seen him play.
From like 18, 19, if you see somebody, saying that, no matter what age they are, I think if they're good enough, you want them. If they're 18, if they're 38, you know, that you can get a year out of, you think, yeah, he'll do us.
In Ian and Glyn, you know, they scout 2 and 3 times a day, sometimes at different games. The amount of work they do on scouting is just absolutely incredible. And what they do is they look at players, they assess them, Ian, you know, they look at them 6, 8, 10 times.
If they want a player, I mean, I'll give you a perfect instance. We were very interested in a player called Andy Watson, who we've now signed, but there were 11 other league clubs in for him and 1 Premiership club. We went, and I say we, it was very much a team effort between myself, Peter Wetzel, Ian and Glyn. And it was a big team effort, and we managed to persuade him to join Doncaster Rovers. You know, I spoke to his mother, I spoke to all sorts of people, the chairman of Garforth Town. We whisked him into a restaurant in a chauffeur-driven Bentley. We really tried to get this guy to sign for us because he was almost signed and sealed for Huddersfield Town. And in the end, he signed for Doncaster Rovers, and I firmly believe this particular player could go an awful long way in the game. And it cost us £25,000. Well, I reckon already he's worth £250,000. But I can see him. I said to someone, this is a prediction I'm going to make, that he'll be the first £1 million conference player. That's how good I think he could be.
Watson, Matty Caldwell and Glenn Kirkwood are fresh, natural, untapped talent and have never been with league outfits. Watson was a roofer and Kirkwood worked in a sweet factory.
We played Eastwood Town in a pre-season friendly, and he did very well. And then I went to watch him a couple of times as well, just sat in the little stand over at Eastwood and kept myself away from everybody, didn't tell them who I was here to see, or didn't even say I was coming to the game. I just sat there, and I liked what I saw. He's raw. But we paid 15,000 for him, and that then goes on my judgment. When Rovers start paying for players, it's all right getting them on frees. You're not questioned so much then, but when a club has to pay 10, 15,000, even small amounts like that, then they start questioning your judgment. But he still needs a lot of work, and we'll be doing that throughout his stint with us, his contract. We'll be working on him most afternoons, and hopefully become a good player.
The appointment of the right people in the back room is absolutely essential, and John Bowden was Ian's very first appointment. He'd previously been the physio at Oldham, where ironically he'd seen far too much of the Rovers' boss. He's an ex-player with Wrexham, Oldham and Rochdale, and his knowledge of the game has already proved invaluable. Ten years on from joining Rovers, Eric Randerson, a loyal servant and a fine ambassador, continues to consolidate the football in the community scheme.
We're really, as a national organisation, it set off with 6 clubs in the northwest. We then took 6 clubs in South Yorkshire, and then during the last 10 years, the community scheme nationally has actually built up where it's now got actually 102 clubs altogether. The main aims of the community are to bring the community closer to the football club, and we do that in many ways. We do coaching in the local schools, we do birthday parties, we do ground visits, match visits, girls only football, holiday courses. We have the players who go to the hospital on a regular basis to see the children up there. So basically anything that we can do to bring the community closer, that's what we try and do.
You come again, good. Try and hit it down. Excellent. Dodgy goalkeeper, but good header. Come on, Claire.
We've got quite close links with the deaf school. That goes back 10 years when we first came as a community scheme. And we go in there twice a week, either with the primary school children, but also with the sports studies children, adults who are aged between 16 and 19. And hopefully, in the not too distant future, we're going to be setting up a coaching certificate qualification for the deaf boys and girls to take.
Yeah, but you won't use that, you'd use that wherever you like. Neil, I'm going to play on 3 lines if you're out sometime. I don't like 3 lines.
Rovers' community programme has been enhanced with the introduction of the After School Club, providing a safe environment for 30 latchkey children.
Have you all got computers at home?
Yeah.
Why? You grounded? Really?
Don't let me spell
Why?
The venture, which is the first of its kind to be operated in the Football Conference, was officially launched by Bill King, chairman of the Nationwide Conference. and appears to have gone down well with the youngsters.
Who'd you support first?
Arsenal.
See ya. Who
No,
else
you're
is
all
there?
right. I'll make it clear that they all support Doncaster Rovers as well. Right then, so why did you feel attracted to come along here?
I don't know, I just thought it'd be quite a good opportunity to come down and just mess about really, don't know what to do.
So you're hoping you might even get spotted by some of the management?
Oh yeah, I hope so.
You're going to keep coming back then?
Yeah.
And who do you support?
Doncaster Rovers.
Well done.
You weren't first to say that, were you, ladies and
Yeah.
No problem.
One of the main things we're trying to do is try and catch children aged from 5 up to 16 years. And if we can catch the children early and invite them to a Rovers game, let them meet the players, hopefully then they're going to be our future supporters and our future players. Because we're doing the grassroots football in the schools, then if anybody takes our eye, then obviously we're going to be passing their names on to Glyn and on to Ian. And also myself and one of the other community coaches are going to be running one of the age groups with the academy. So obviously it's in the club's interest and in our interest to actually get into as many schools as possible and try and pick a lot of the youngsters up.
It'd be great to have them from 9 and 10 years up to 16 and have academies and have the Doncaster people wanted to play for Doncaster. It's all right, I'm going to Leeds and Notts Forest and Bury. We don't want to see that. We want people coming up and saying, oh, so-and-so's at your under-10s academy and somebody's at the 14s, and that's what I want to hear. And it's a big thing for us, and particularly Glyn. Glyn's gone deep into it with Gina Maxwell and Rob Smith, and they're working extremely hard on it.
We've had some trials in December, some trials in February, which we've been looking at. Now we've looked at, I think, 200, 300 kids at the moment and just picked 2 out of that lot.
Don't worry about us walking out pitch taking notes. Take no notes of us, okay? We're here just doing an assessment, that's all we're doing. You're not here to be judged and you're not here for hanging or out silly like that. Just play your normal game, just relax. We know you're going to be a little bit uptight. Just relax, just enjoy yourself. That's what you've come for today. And just play your normal game of football, okay? We do take things into consideration, like we know you're going to be a little bit nervous. We know you're going to try and press us a little bit.
My initial duties are to establish and set up the youth team that's at under 17 level in time for next season, which is what we've been doing since last October. Hopefully from there they will receive the right quality coaching which will develop the players into first team players, and that's ultimately what we're looking towards doing with them.
So we're just waiting for match officials now.
We've really had to start from scratch, as any new club would have to, really. And it's just been a matter of trial and error with holding the trials, going out forging links in different areas, talking to people, and hopefully to attract the kids to come to us for trials. There is a lot of talent in Doncaster, a lot of whom have been snapped up by other clubs because there's been no youth policy at the club since the last system was disbanded. And for that very reason we've had other clubs in the area looking at the youngsters and the youngsters going elsewhere. That's something we've got to overcome and attract those youngsters to our football club now. Well, I think we've got to attract the lads by what we offer them. And what we at Doncaster Rovers are offering is not just the football side of it, but we're offering an education package as well, to be run with links into Doncaster College that we've linked to. So we'll be offering the full facilities, both from the education side and the football side as well, which we think will compete with any other club in the country at the moment. We've also been and looked at the players who have been released by Premier League clubs down at the release trials that were held at Keele University in March. So we've looked at quite a lot of lads. The things we're looking for really is the boys' ability on the field. We know they're going to make mistakes, they're going to be nervous on a trial basis, as the very name implies. So we understand that and we take that into consideration. But the sort of things we're looking for is a boy's ability when he receives the ball, his first touch for example, his vision and his awareness, his distribution of the ball. If the lads have got those sort of basics, then we can look at other areas that they might have shortcomings in, and we then have to decide whether they are shortcomings that we can work on.
You're struggling, big man?
Yeah, I got cramp.
And we all have our own opinions in what we see in a footballer, and that's proven by the number of lads that we've offered positions to, a lot of whom have already been released by other clubs. And that's how we've been able to pick them up, because they have been released by other clubs that they've already been training with. So obviously that club's seen something that they can't work with and have released the boy. We've looked at him and said, yeah, this lad's got some ability and we can work with this lad. So yes, it is a matter of opinions, and the lads that we picked up we feel are quality young players who will benefit Doncaster Rovers.
This is like the second lot of 50 we've had. Yeah. So rather than say, oh no, we don't want to have a look at you, I thought we'll have a look, and you might pick one or two up, you know, you don't know, because we've still got even looked at Doncaster's yet.
Last time, didn't we?
Yeah, so we picked two good ones up last time. Hopefully there's a couple here, so you know, it's been worthwhile at the end of the day.
Ultimately, we hope at Doncaster Rovers to run an academy on the same lines as the Premier Division clubs, with an age group in all the age groups, right from the youngsters right through up to the youth team, under 17s, under 19s. And eventually, I know the manager's looking to have a reserve team and the first team as well. So ultimately, we hope at Doncaster Rovers to have the full age range, right from the youngsters right through to the first team.
We have forecast some showers tonight, so we're just going to get it all. We've got to get it out and get it all ready, and then if it don't rain before Friday, we'll flood Middle and Goldmouth. That's the general idea anyway. Well, just go through. Hopefully we'll do it all day tomorrow if it don't rain.
Once the subject of a bid from Wembley Stadium, the Bellevue pitch has always been admired. And indeed, to play a good passing game, it needs a carefully nurtured playing surface.
They tell us how long they want the grass, they want to play football, so we keep it fairly short. And that's one of the reasons we brush it so it don't flat, so the ball don't bobble. That's the other thing with the divots, if it hits one of them, it's up. And if you watch one or two games, we're lucky at the moment we don't get many, it does play flat. But a lot of that, as I say, is down to divoting and rolling.
Along with Peter White, Lee Warren is a long-serving survivor of the previous regime. The ex-Leeds and Hull City utility player is an established professional and has been a model of consistency during his time with the club. Lee is now reaping the rewards for his continued loyalty. Mr. Consistency picks up the Supporters Club Player of the Year award for the second successive season. What the manager wants and what actually happens on the field may not always be the same thing, and it's the skipper's job to pull the two together.
I think the manager looks to try and get his opinion on the pitch during the 45 minutes when he can't actually say that. The manager's full of passion and drive and commitment, and I think maybe that's what he sees in me. I've got my coaching badge, so I know a little bit how football should be played, and when to squeeze and when to push in the right areas, so I think that also helps. But as much as that is my commitment as well. I think when you're captain, or the way I look at it, when you're captain, and if you're not playing well, it's hard to give other players a telling off for not playing well. I look at it so I've got to try and go out and play as best as I can every game, so that I can lead other players into try and play as well. But you know, sort of leading by example.
Since Christmas, there'd been a steady improvement in Rovers' fortunes, and a vital game against Telford allowed the manager to field a formation of his choice.
At times I like to play with 4 at the back, at times I like to play with 5. And you get the players to play a certain system, and then due to injuries and suspensions, you have to change it to go back to a 4 or a 5. So 7, Raggy 8, Dirty 9, Kirky 10. Oh, we missed that. And Maxi 11. Yumi 12, Matty Colwell 14, Dino 15. Right, we're going to play with 3 centre-backs. Lee Warren right, Nico centre for the 3 and Colin. Kevin and Shoy bombing on. Dave Penny and Maxi, sitting. Sean Goodwin in the hole. Kirky and Dirty up front. Don't need to say how important this game is. Fucking, they're a point behind us. Big game. They're an hard-working team. I've watched them twice. They work the cocks off for each other. They're not the quickest. So if we look to get it over the top at times for Kirky and Dirty, they're strong in the air, the 3 big lads, 6'4", so they're going to fucking win everything. But beyond them, they're not the quickest. But if we get about our job, do it properly, there's 3 points. Same as I said, they're just waiting for you to do well. They've been great all season. Let's not be apprehensive here. Away from home, we seem dead relaxed. Here, they're just waiting for you to fucking do things, score a goal, and they'll fucking raise the roof for you. So let's just go out there, plenty of confidence, first minute, let's get about them. 3 fucking points, it's a fucking must tonight. 3 points, 3 points Saturday against Hereford, and we're looking fucking good. We're looking good. So, first tackle from the first minute to the last. Let's nothing silly, don't get involved with referees. Let's go out and let's just do the fucking business of them. Eh? Come on. I know as a player, he used to call the manager behind his back and why has he done this and why has he... Now, the shoe's on the other foot now that I'm in charge, and I know players behind my back might be saying things, but I think we've got an happy family here. We try to treat them as adults, because that's what they are. They're adults, and we try and, me and Glyn, we give them the best of everything, or the best that we possibly can. We know that we can't give them the likes what Man United can give them, and Liverpool's and the Premiership clubs. But what we have got here, we try and give them, and we try and look after them the best we can. We get them good training facilities, good training kit. We get good food over at the deaf school for them to eat after training, and we try and look after them that way, and hopefully they'll pay us back by giving us some good performances.
New ideas, attention to detail, professionalism, but still a learning curve.
And, you know, you take things on board when you're a coach that you think might be better, and you listen to other people, you know, what Wenger's done and what Ferguson's done. There's a doctor there at Manchester United that I was speaking to with the chairman, who tells us all about the diet and the food. So you take things in and hopefully put it into your own players. All right, we're in the Conference League, but we will make it as professional as we can. And I brought some diet sheets with me, which we give out to every player who signs, or all the lads at the beginning of the season. They've all got those, and it tells you all about the fluid intake that they should be taking. Next year we're trying to get some proper stuff in to drink, which will hopefully make them 1% fitter, which is going to be a lot better for them, even if it's 1%. And also the food will change as well. Like this year, it's, you know, it's been rushed. The deaf school's been brilliant with us where we train. The 2 ladies over there put us food on every day after we're finished, and it's all geared to, you know, carbohydrates, what you should be putting back in. And so, yeah, we try and get them on a professional level.
I want to do well for myself as a manager. I want the players to do well for themselves as footballers. I want them to go to the highest level that they can, and I want to go as the highest level I can as a manager. I might never achieve it, them players might never achieve it, but while they're at Doncaster Rovers, I want them to give them fans the money's worth. And they've proved that they're willing to back us with the crowd that's coming in. And all I ask for the players is to go out there, work hard, and give them what they want. And if it's not good enough, then it's not good enough. You hold your hands up. If you're beaten by a better team on the day, you hold your hands up. But as long as you come off and you think you get value for money, you're happy with your own performance, then I can ask for no more of any of my players. And that I always felt that I give my 100% to every game that I played. All right, I might not have had a good game every week, but I always went out and tried to give 100%. And that's all I ask for as a manager. I ask the players that are playing just to give me 100%. If it's not good enough on the day, it's not good enough. But they're not far wrong if they give you that every week.
Colin Sutherland personifies the commitment Ian's looking for.
His displays this season have been outstanding. He's a crowd favourite because he gives everything to every game, and he's a competitor, and you need them kind of players in your team. And he was one of the first signings when I knew I was getting the job. I picked the phone up and got straight on, because I know week in and week out he'd give me everything, and that's the players I go for.
Something as trivial as a broken wrist doesn't stop Sutherland from playing on. A sure testimony to Ian's opinion of the Scotsman. Mathematical safety had been assured by the time Rovers prepared for their final league game, and the manager took the opportunity to field some of the fringe players.
Right, couple of changes from yesterday. Raggy's dad's ill, and Andy Watson's found his nana dead this morning, so he won't be playing. So, a couple of changes. So, Woodsy 1, Shoei captain 2, Kevin McIntyre 3, Lee Warren 4, Danny George 5.
Wait! Drag him over here.
Alright, okay, I'm Paul, okay?
Hiya, skipper.
It's a head, so choice time. Choice events. There's you all have the yellow cake, okay?
Not since Ian Snoddin pulled on an England shirt have Rovers paraded an England international. But Simon Shaw redressed that balance. Impressive displays for the England semi-professional team gave the Rovers defender long overdue recognition.
Started the season well, and obviously somebody's been to watch me, and I was chosen to play for England, so I was happy to do so, more than happy to do so really. It worked out well. I played for Italy first off. We won 4-1. I set 2 of the goals up, and I enjoyed the experience. It was a good experience. We were treated well, treated really professionally, as probably any other England team would. And it was a good experience to play with some other good players in our league.
As Simon Shaw left the field at the end of Rovers' Conference League programme, the club could reflect on all of the hard work which had contributed to them finishing in a respectable 16th position. It wasn't, however, the end of the season.
Right, for Monday, 11 AM start on Monday. The lads are stopping over, they'll know that. We're going to do the checklist for the kit. Anything missing? Money. Right, so there'll be 1 or 2 things. Don't owe me that.
I think the spare jumper and t-shirt up yesterday. Sell it then.
It's all right then. So bring everything in your bag on Monday morning, and we're going to go through it all. Anything missing? Remember the sheets you signed? Yes, we've all got your signatures on them sheets. And on Monday, everybody's going to get 2 tickets. Now, the lads that aren't going to be involved, or who's not going to be in the 14, will need 1 ticket for themselves. Out of that, because all the seats will be sold. Unless you want to stand up and give your tickets to whoever you want to give. But if you're sitting down, you will need 1 for yourself, because all them seats will be sold by Monday night. But everybody will get 2 if you're playing or not. Whoever's not involved, that's what will be happening. Okay, boys, it's all up to you.
In the Ensley Trophy, which is the Conference League Cup, Rovers have progressed to the final, having beaten Southport, Northwich Victoria and Morecambe along the way. 1-0 up from the first leg of the final at Farnborough, Rovers were clear favourites to lift the trophy.
Tonight.
Fowler, have you got your makeup on, son? You're on camera. Eh?
Would you ever, in your wildest dreams, have thought that Rovers would have been pushing for some silverware come the end of this season?
No, no, not at all. No.
I mean, and how many are they going to win tonight?
3-0.
3-0. Don't you think Fowler any good then?
3-0, Rovers 3-0.
Used that CD, have you? What? Yeah, used it, yeah. Yeah? Not bad. Yeah. Good. I like that Andy Williams on it.
Who's going to get them?
Ian Durden.
How many? You scored 2?
Durden 2.
Durden 2?
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yes.
Also, birthday wishes to Robert Parry. He's 8 on the 11th of May. Robert is a junior Rovers member and all
obviously I'm very, very happy for me and the rest of the lads and everybody else. I think it's fantastic.
A lot of hard work gone into this. Please for all these in here and all that like that. 7,000 of them. Brilliant, brilliant.
On reflection, it's been a strange old season. If you'd have been told in the summer of '98 that Rovers would win silverware in front of over 7,000 fans, the biggest non-league gate for over 2 years, and be honoured with a civic reception, you could have been excused for thinking it's all just a dream. And who would ever have thought that Neville Southall, John Sheridan and Steve Nicol would have donned Rovers shirts? At last, supporters have something to cheer about. Ghosts of bygone days have been laid to rest, and it's now time to look forward.
If we're up there next season, which I'm not promising, you can't promise anything in life really, but I know we'll give it its best shot, and the players we'll bring in summer will strengthen the squad. And if we give the Doncaster public what they deserve, then we'd win the league by miles. So we'll be striving now all summer. Our work starts now, whereas the boys will have a bit of a break, but me and Glyn's work start now to bring players in and get ready for next season. And if we do half as well as this season, I'll be delighted, because I feel the town's just waiting to take off and give them a successful team, and the world's your oyster.
Magic.
Thank you.
Andy Warrington, Dean Walling, Mark Barnard and ex-Premiership striker Mike Newell have signed for Rovers during the summer, underlining the club's promotion ambitions.